In the year 2022, an accident occurred, one that left most of the planet Earth uninhabitable. As a result, humanity was forced to scatter amongst the stars. Now, almost 50 years later, in the year 2071, we are shown that mankind has, in fact, persisted. Through great technological advancements, humans have succeeded in colonizing not only planets and moons, but even asteroids. While the sprawling world of Cowboy Bebop is undeniably fascinating, the true heart of the story lies in something familiar to all of us. That is, what it means to be human, particularly our need to form connections with others, the ways in which we interact with our own pasts, and how we deal with the impermanence of everything. But if the story can be seen as a study of the human condition, then who is or who are our subjects? The Bebop crew, a group of lost souls drifting through space. Throughout the series, they bump into each other and end up inadvertently forming a sort of makeshift family. A family that is by no means perfect, but it is theirs. Really, they come together not out of choice, but rather necessity. Each one of them is a loner and carries a ton of emotional baggage with them. And while they either can't or won't admit it, they find refuge in each other's company. They are broken people, even if they aren't aware of it themselves. And they float together in a giant hunk of metal called the Bebop that floats through a vast, empty, and uncaring space. But who are they exactly? For this video, I am going to be covering just the human members. Sorry. In the beginning, it's just Spike and Jet. By this point, they have already been working together for roughly 3 years, and although they share a somewhat close relationship, they remain very much closed off to each other.
It's not about strength or power. You gotta be fluid. Huh? You have to be like water.
Spike's a former member of the Red Dragon Syndicate. He, along with another man by the name of Vicious, gained the reputation of being the organization's strongest fighters. But all of that changed when Spike began a romantic affair with Vicious's girlfriend, Julia. Having become disillusioned with the Syndicate's life of violence, he tried to run away with her, and so he faked his own death. Julia was supposed to meet him afterwards, but before she could, Vicious discovered their plan and threatened to kill the both of them. Consequently, Julia never showed up, and Spike was left with no choice but to start over as a bounty hunter. When we first meet him, he has this carefree and devil-may-care attitude about him, but that is nothing more than a mask to hide what he really is. A man haunted by his past. Coming from the other side of the law is Jet, a former ISSP officer from the planet Ganymede. He's a man driven by a strong sense of justice and a desire to protect others. Through his time in the force, he earned the nickname the Black Dog.
Guy they called the Black Dog because once you got your teeth into something, you never let go of it.
He was also in a relationship at the time with a woman named Anissa, but she abandoned him suddenly without reason, leaving behind only a farewell note and a pocket watch. Torn up by Anissa's departure, he promised himself that if the watch stopped before she returned, that he would leave the planet forever. In the meantime, he threw himself fully into his work, and eventually began to investigate a criminal organization that was responsible for much of the corruption in the police department. Because of his snooping around, he became the target of an ambush that cost him his left arm. His disgust for the rampant corruption in the force, combined with the fact that Anissa never did come back, at least not before the pocket watch stopped, drove him to leave Ganymede and start anew. Soon after, the duo become a trio with the introduction of Faye Valentine. At first glance, she comes across as vain and materialistic, a self-serving con artist with no interest in being a part of the crew. But much to the disapproval of both Spike and Jet, she does gradually become a part of their little dysfunctional family. There's a lot more than meets the eye with Faye. Although she appears very young, she is in fact 77 years old. That's because she was cryogenically frozen after a space shuttle accident, leaving her in suspended animation for 54 years. When she finally woke up, she had absolutely no recollection of her past. Her own name even was given to her by the doctor that unfroze her. Soon after being revived, she was taken advantage of and left with a lot of debt. This being her first interaction with other people, at least to her recollection, caused her to become a more untrusting and closed-off person. While she succeeds in surviving on her own, it's clear from the outset that there is something missing with her, something that even she can't quite put her finger on. And then there's Edward Wong Hao Pepelu Tversky IV, better known as Ed. A teenage girl who was anything but ordinary, Ed forcefully hacks her way into the Bebop crew. She's chaotic and always getting herself into some kind of trouble.
Edward is hungry.
Yeah? Let's eat this, fool!
But really, she's just a kid who's longing for some semblance of family. Abandoned by her father, she spent 2 years wandering on her own until she made her way to an orphanage run by a sister Clara. But sometime later, she ran away. While on the Bebop, Ed does end up forming a close relationship with the other crew members, in particular Jet, who acts as a sort of father figure to her, and also Ein, the lovable, super intelligent Welsh corgi. She's hyper-energetic and extremely curious about everything around her, which is quite normal for a kid her age, but it doesn't change the fact that she was deserted by her own family, and no matter who you are, that's going to have a profound impact on your own psyche.
Edward wants chocolate.
So obviously all of these characters have their own issues, but what we're really interested in is in the ways that they overlap. They all struggle when it comes to forming connections with other people, and they also are all unable to get over their pasts. These two problems are in fact inextricably linked. Each member of the Bebop grapples with the past in their own unique way, yet they all end up stuck in the same place. For instance, Jet clings to the past. He's unable to let go of his former life as a police officer. The black dog that never lets go is accurate. He's shown to frequently reminisce and dwell on what happened before, holding on to the old pocket watch left by his former girlfriend. And he also takes every chance to catch up with his old police buddies. It's clear that he misses the sense of direction he once had, and while he does approach his bounty hunting duties diligently, he still remains without true purpose, just drifting along aimlessly in space, chasing one job after another. On the other hand, Spike runs from the past. His go-with-the-flow persona is nothing more than a coping mechanism. But this isn't just some happy-go-lucky philosophy that he came up with. Rather, it's him admitting that he's given up in a sense. That no matter how hard you try, it doesn't matter because in the end, we're all victims of a fate that cannot be changed. So he avoids acknowledging the past because he sees no purpose in it. It just brings up unnecessary pain. But this fatalistic worldview doesn't provide him with the relief he seeks. Instead, just like the rest of the crew, he remains lost. He's living, but can you really call it living? It's why he believes himself to be constantly dreaming and never truly awake. Faye has no past, and so she feels as though a piece of her is missing. She's convinced that there is no place where she truly belongs. This causes her to lash out and to try and fill that emptiness through various not-so-great habits such as gambling and drinking. Upon receiving a Betamax recording of her younger self, a cheerful and hopeful version of her that no longer exists, she ends up crying. This discovery leads her to seek out her past, because without it, she can't feel complete. It's obvious that she believes that only through regaining her memories can she achieve the happiness and the feeling of belonging that she has always craved. Lastly, Ed tries to replace the past. She wanted a family, and so she hacked her way into one. But it doesn't change the fact that her father left her. That sort of rejection is not easy, especially for a child. She's extremely smart and also really funny, especially with all the silly antics she comes up with.
Shut up, kid. Halloween's tomorrow, then get lost.
But at the end of the day, she joined the Bebop because there was a desire within her for a place to call home, a people that she can call family. Being a part of the crew gives her that to an extent, but is it enough? So every crew member has their own way of dealing with the past. Each one is different, but in all cases they never properly confront the issues that are holding them back. Their ways of coping are insufficient, leaving them unable to move forward and form the human connections that they want. Let's talk about the crew being bounty hunters. The life of a bounty hunter suits them well because it forces them to live just for today. This keeps them busy enough to avoid those pesky, painful thoughts of the past that come with too much free time. But the lifestyle of a bounty hunter is as much a trap as it is an escape. Since they only live day by day, chasing one bounty after the next just to survive, they are unable to even contemplate any sort of meaningful future. Being a bounty hunter is simply not sustainable, both economically and emotionally. It was never meant to be something that just went on forever, for any of them. As fun as it is to travel across the universe hunting for wanted criminals, being a bounty hunter was just a means to an end, and not the end goal. There was always going to be a day when they would stop. But none of them are shown to ever acknowledge this fact, and even us, the viewers, sort of assume that the crew will keep on hunting together happily, and nothing will ever change. When you don't take the time to properly think of the future, you just fall into that complacent state of mind, thinking that things will always stay the same. But we all know that's rarely true. Any noble concept of what it means to be a bounty hunter is quickly blown aside with the introduction of Andy the cowboy, or samurai. Andy himself takes on bounty hunting because he doesn't have anything better to do. He's just looking to fill in some void and give himself a purpose.
So why would a man like you become a bounty hunter? Since you're so rich, I mean you have such a comfortable lifestyle.
That's true. But why? I'd have to say because it suits me.
Uh-huh.
And to be honest, his motives are somewhat comparable to the crew members of the Bebop. He just happens to go about his bounty hunting in a very eccentric and comedic way. But I think the point of his character, beyond providing comic relief, is to reaffirm that the lifestyle of a bounty hunter isn't the fulfilling end promise for any of the crew.
I know why he hates the guy. They're too much alike.
What part of me could be anything like that stupid ass?
The part that makes you so damn troublesome.
Mm-hmm.
One way or another, life ends up bringing each member of the Bebop crew face to face with the ghosts of their own pasts. Jet finally reunites with his ex-girlfriend Anissa and learns the truth about her departure. She left because she felt suffocated by his controlling and overprotective nature. It's a revelation that cuts deep, but it also helps set him free. Later on, he uncovers the truth behind the incident that took his left arm, learning that it was in fact his former ISSP partner, Thad, who had set him up. It's through these painful moments that Jet, the black dog, is finally able to let go of the lingering bitterness that he's been carrying for years. Spike's past with Julia and Vicious catches up to him in full force, culminating in a violent confrontation with the Syndicate. He's always questioned if he was ever truly alive, and so he goes into the final battle despite knowing that it may be the end of him, because facing the past is the only way to stop the dreaming and finally wake up. His final moments, although sad, show us a man no longer burdened by the weight of his past. Faye discovers the ruins of her past, quite literally. After finding the place she once called home, she's hit with the harsh truth that it no longer exists. Everything she thought she was searching for is gone. But in losing her connection to the past, she begins to realize, maybe a little too late, that the Bebop crew has become her real family. It's a bittersweet moment of clarity. She may never find the home she lost, but she's found belonging in the here and now. Ed, in her own way, finds closure through starting over again. After an emotional reunion with her father, she comes to the difficult decision of leaving behind her new home in order to reconnect with the family she once had. Her departure, just like her arrival, is very sudden and serves as a reminder that nothing truly lasts forever, and to appreciate what you have while you have it. Cowboy Bebop doesn't give us a happily ever after ending. Instead, it gives us a real one. The crew, once bound together by circumstance, inevitably drifts apart. It's an important life lesson that the people we meet, the bonds we form, and the moments we share are fleeting. But that's also what makes them so meaningful. The series' final message, "You're gonna carry that weight," speaks to the idea that while we can't escape the past, we don't have to be defined by it. The Bebop crew spent so much of their time stuck, haunted by memories, regrets, and missed opportunities. They're quite literally crushed by the weight of their pasts. But by finally facing their demons head on, the weight is suddenly lifted. Ultimately, while it's dressed up in gorgeous retro sci-fi imagery, Cowboy Bebop is a classic tale of what it means to be human. It delivers an important lesson relevant to all of us, that we don't need to be held back by our past. The mistakes we've made, the hurts we've been dealt, the tears we've shed, it's all real, but at the same time, it shouldn't stop us from moving forward with our lives. We just need to carry that weight. This has been Ulexis. Thank you for watching.